Okay, this is take two. Um, can you lose money doing Uber? Yes. There's at least two ways that I know of that you can lose money doing Uber. A lot of people want to use Uber as a way of replacing a regular job. Okay. In some areas, maybe you could. I mean, if there's not a lot of drivers in an area, if you live in some place like Alaska or maybe some place in which there's not a lot of drivers doing Uber, yeah, you could. But I've done Uber now. I've gone maybe like I've had like 30 rides or something like that, right? I'm not a big Uber veteran or anything, but it comes out to $5 an hour. $5 an hour, right? 12 hours sitting in the car, right? And it's $5 an hour that I would not be making if I was sitting at home in front of my TV set. See? So on my days off, okay, I'm getting less than 40 hours a week right now at my regular job. So if I take those 3 days, right, and those half days, which you work till midnight and then you're awake all night, right? Might as well, throw on a sweater, turn on your app, make some a little bit extra money, right? Might as well do that. If I could make $100 a week, that makes a difference in my paycheck, right? That makes a difference. So, but at a minimum wage job right now, you're getting $7.25 per hour, right? And you get overtime too. When you get more than 40 hours a week, you get overtime, right? And on the holidays, you might get double time, right? And that could be $14 an hour, $14.50 an hour. Holidays, weekends, all that kind of stuff, overtime. Uber, you're still going to get $5 an hour. Now, everybody wants that $15 an hour bonus, right? That Uber has, that $15 an hour, right? That many people qualify for it, especially you don't qualify for every time you go out. See, once in a while you qualify for that. If you do a couple of trips at the right time, bang, you could qualify for it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. There's a lot of people who they bunch up in the cities, right? And you see this on your Rider app, right? They're all piled on top of each other, right, in the cities. And there's a couple of problems with that. And one is the operator in the station, right? So you're in your city, right? And everybody's all bunched up here. And maybe there's some bars and restaurants. There's the college, right? GE, a college here. Campus, right? And then there's some bars here, right? And they're all like, boom, all the cars are like piled up on top of each other. If the operator wants to help you out and says, because you got a good rating and whatever, he can't help you out because you're stuck here. See? All piled up together. You got to have one trip for every hour, and you've got to be on the road for a couple of hours, right? So you have to get a certain number of rides. Now, of course, if you've got like a whole lot of drivers in the area and not enough riders, most people are not going to qualify for that benefit because there's going to be so many other people that they can tap, right? Now, you get rides basically three different ways, right? Because you're in the queue, right? You're in this list, right? On the computer, right? Your name will come up eventually, right? And then the second way is proximity, right? If you're like in a city here, right? And then there's some guy out here, rides that pop up in there, you're going to get them because they're in your area, you're close, right? But if you're all piled up on top of each other, that doesn't apply, right? And the list might actually do it. The third way is that computer mouse, right, on the pad, and there's a hand on it with the little thumb there, little fingers, and that's connected to an operator at the station, and he clicks on you. And when he clicks on you, then you get that ride, right? So those are three different ways, okay, that you get it. If you put in the time and you're available and you're there, you're going to get tapped eventually, and you'll make more money the more hours you spend, okay? But you might not get that $15, right? And it'll end up being $5 an hour that you could have been working at another job for $7.25 an hour. See, flipping hamburgers, working retail, anything like that, right? $5 an hour. Now, for me, sitting in front of my computer, right, I don't really use a TV set anymore. I just watch all my TV programs on computer now and stuff, save money that way. And all the TV shows that I can find, every TV show that I want to watch, I can find online. So I just watch all my TV online now. Anyway, but sitting there, drinking too much beer, eating too much stupid food from the microwave, right? I'm spending money, and I'm not getting anything out of it. If I sit in my car, I get $5 an hour, right? I'm listening to the radio, and I'm talking to people, right? I'm actually meeting people, talking to people. I'm not sitting at home bored anymore, something like that. So Uber is still worthwhile, right? It's just not a good replacement for a real job, see? And you're an outside contractor, so you don't have a lot of rights, right? And you have to pay more in taxes too, see? And so you've got to deduct your transportation costs also. You've got also you want to keep track of your mileage and how much gasoline you spend. Now, that's the first way you lose money, is on that, right? Here's another way that you lose money. Let's say you're in a city here, right? And it's 1:30 in the morning, right? You're waiting for a bar. There's a little bar here or something like that. You're waiting outside that bar at 1:30 in the morning, okay? And then your Uber app goes off and goes, oh, I've got a pickup, a rider on 3rd Street. Well, there's 3rd Street in the city, right? But they don't mean this city. They mean this city here, 3rd Street. So they, boom, as soon as you accept that ride, bang, you go out there, and that's 10 miles, right? 10 miles away, right? And of course, when you're done, you have to go, boom, back home again, 10 miles, a total of 20 miles, right? And that might only be a 5-minute ride. They 5-minute ride, right? And you get $5 from that, $5 from that, right? Okay, $5, big deal, right? And you drive the city on a regular basis, maybe, something like that, but you don't think about it. Now, if you buy, this is one of these things that people do not understand. Let's go to the next page here. I don't care what kind of car you have. Cars last about 100,000 miles. They do. I had one car, the transmission went out at 80,000 miles. 2 Japanese cars, transmission went out at 80,000 miles. And I had to get transmission rebuilt. And then the engines would go out after 100,000. One car was 140,000, the other was 120,000. The engine blows, right? And I buy a car and I keep it, the whole time. I don't, swap cars. I don't sell cars constantly. I'll buy a car like brand new, and I'll just keep it for the life, right? For its life. or I'll buy a used car. Very often you can get used cars a lot cheaper than you can new cars, right? Well, let's say you pay $20,000, right? 20K for your car, right? And if the cars go 100,000, right? 100,000 miles, that's 100K miles, right? Divide 100,000 miles into $20,000, you get 20 cents a mile, right? 20 cents a mile. Now, going back to this again, you spent $2 going 10 miles times 20 cents a mile. You're going $2, right, this way, and then $2 coming back, right, this way, and your car gets 20 miles per gallon, 20 mpg, right, ends up being another $2 right now for a gallon of gasoline, which is really cheap. Gasoline, I remember gasoline not long ago was $4 a gallon. Now is $2, another $2 for that. Total, you know, 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals $6 that you spent to get out there. You only made $5 actually moving the guy from one place to another, right? Use of your car, gasoline, end up costing you more than taking that guy, than delivering that guy to his destination. So you sit out there in this city, hopefully get a couple of more rides, but it's over 2 o'clock in the morning, and this city was busy. This city has lots of bars and restaurants. This city only has a few bars and restaurants, and the whole place shuts down after 2 a.m. And so you're waiting here for a couple of hours, waiting for a ride. So not only do you not qualify for that $15 an hour thing for sitting out there waiting, you don't get that 15 bucks sitting out there waiting, right? Maybe you won't even get $5 an hour for that time, because you're going to be waiting 2-3 hours for 5 a.m. in the morning, right? 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning. You're waiting until 5 a.m. in the morning till somebody's got to get to work and they find out their car won't start. See? And so you're waiting for a couple of hours and you're not even making $5 an hour then, see? So that's one of the big problems, is that they will swing you out to an outlying area. Okay? And this is one reason. So the first thing is they bunch up in the cities, right? Here's right. There will be a city here, right? And everybody bunches up, right? Up over around here, around a bar, restaurant, around the college campus. Now the college campus is on a hill and covered with ice and snow. The parents of those college kids say, "Hey, I'd rather you do Uber, and it'll cost me $5 for you to do Uber to drive from one dorm to another, but I'd rather you do that, son, daughter, rather than break your leg slipping, falling down a hill." And it is a steep campus. It is a steep hill. So if I was a parent shelling out a lot of money for my kid, I might not mind doing that. And the Uber guy sits at the bottom of the hill, less than, say, a city block away. He's at the bottom of the hill. So all of these, like 10 guys, all sit at the bottom of the hill of the college campus. See? And so they're all taking little trips, hopefully qualifying for that $15 an hour thing, which, you know, may or may not happen. I sit down here, right? Because they go over the hill, right? And go up over the hill, and boom, I'm down in this area. And this is another area right down here, and that Uber has. And so I'm right on the edge of this other area, which nobody ever sits in, right? And so they call me for the college campus, and then they'll call me for other things in that area. other things in the area and whatever, and I can get the swing out. And on the screen at the station, the guy who operates the Uber terminal at the station sees me sitting out there, and he goes, okay, we're going to use this guy, right? We're going to swing him out there and to an outlying area. And the outlying area guy doesn't want to go to someplace else in the outlying area. It's not another city, right? He's in the country. He's a country guy. He's you know, farmhouse or a gated community or something like that. So I go out there, I grab the guy, and then he wants to go into the inner city. So that's a nice long trip. See? So I get some good fares that way, right? Some nice long trips. And I'm in the outlying area, and I get more opportunities that way, right? And that works better than bunching up in the cities. So here's the... So anyway, here's the city, right? And everybody's bunched up in here to do lots of little trips to qualify for that 15 bucks an hour, right? Kind of thing. I'm down here, right? And then there's a Catholic college down here, see? And so I can get called into the city, or I could get called down here. And the girls at the Catholic college, it's a small college and it's religious and they don't party very much, right? And so they want to go into town, right? So I go boom and then boom, right? Nice long trips, right? And then I try to come back to here, but usually I get popped a few more times when I get into town for lots of little trips, right? And then I try to go up maybe this area here, which is kind of like the airport is here. Yeah, airport up here, right? And I could get called to the airport and called back into town again, see? Now what I noticed was some people have this mysterious app that's out there, and they probably know somebody, or they're calling somebody up saying, hey buddy, give me a tip, and they goes, oh, download this app, you know, da 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 da, right? And the app gives you the last trip or something that came out, right? And so everybody rushes because they think it's a hot area, right? But see, sitting down here with this Catholic college here, it's more or less an outlying area over the hill from the college. It's not that busy of an area, see? So I may get one call, like from that Catholic college, maybe every couple of hours somebody might want to do it, and when they're at the bar, they're going to want to go back home again, right? But all these guys crowded here are going to get them, right? And take them back. And that's okay, that's fine. So anyway, I go to this outlying area, I get a trip, right, which is maybe a gated community or something, and they want to go to a bar in town, right? So go into town. And then I notice when I look back on the app again, there's all these people that showed up. All these Uber drivers showed up right around the area where I was. And then all these Uber drivers show up around the area down here. And it doesn't justify all those people. See? You know, rather than stake out their area, they all crowd around where I was. And I noticed that wherever I was going, I was being followed by other drivers. Because it's like, hey, maybe they like me so much better, you know, that maybe I got an inside track somewhere, right? And that I got a relative cousin or something that works at Uber who's giving me all these great rides. No, it doesn't work like that, right? I don't have any connections, okay? I might have a good rating and a car without dents in it, but, you know, I'm not getting favored that much, right? What I'm doing is I'm staying in the outlying areas, right? Outside the city. I'm not piling up with everybody else, and that's why I get popped, right? And then when I drive through the city to get to that area, I get popped when I go through the city. See? And and then you end up, qualifying. See? But everybody piles up inside the city and stuff. It doesn't serve anybody's interest. Now, what I noticed is when I sit down here, there's somebody out here who calls for a ride and then they cancel, right? And that's happened a couple of times, right? You drive out there, boom, then they cancel on you, right? Or I was being swung out to that outlying city one time and they canceled on me at the last minute after I drove 10 miles, see? And usually at that point then I say, well, if I'm not making money, I'm going to turn my phone off and go home, see? And so I've done that a couple of times, right? Now, if you know they're going to swing you out to the city, to that other city 10 miles away, if they're going to do that, people turn off their phones. And that's why, even though you've got way too many drivers during the day, at night after 3 a.m., nobody's online. Everybody turns off their phone. And then you have nobody left, see? Because they can't make any money sitting around. See, when the areas go like this area that I get into, right? They turn it red, right? That there's no rides there. Just because it says it's surging, it's not really surging at all. It's just they turn it red to bring people into the area. So I sit in the area, right? And hopefully, if somebody needs a ride in that area, I get 2 times what normal fare is. And if there's nobody in the area except for you, you should get paid extra, right? For being there, you should be able to get the benefit from that. But they turn the area off as soon as you get into it, see? And so they turn the areas amber or yellow, amber, whatever, not because it's surging in business, not because there's extra people, because there's too many drivers, see? It turns red because the operator at the station is clicking on his mouse and turning the area red to get more drivers into the area and encourage people in there. Before the bars close, they want people in certain areas to take care of the traffic ahead of time. See? So they have a legitimate reason for doing this, but it's essentially not really honest or exactly honest. So when this whole area turns red, that doesn't mean there's rides there. Right? But everybody rushes there. It's like, oh my God, it's red. I'm going to go there and get lots of rides. So people, they rush, boom to there, and rush, boom to there, and then rush, boom to there, and then rush, boom to there, right? And they never get a ride the whole time, right? They're always just zipping around constantly, right? And they never get a ride, but they burn up their mileage on their car. Waste mileage, waste gasoline, and they waste their money. See? Now, you deduct it off your taxes at the end of the year. You keep track of your gasoline and your mileage, and there's an app for that on your phone that you can download. And you can get a report printed out to take your tax preparer at the end of the year to get, deduct some money off your taxes. Okay? And basically, so what I do is, this is what I do. I live, let's say, right here, okay? And there's a city here, and a city here, and then the outlying city way out here, 10 miles away, right? I will get ready and everything, and there's always a couple of people around in this area. I'll turn on my phone. Right? And I'll turn on my phone and I'll get a couple of rides, picking somebody up here, taking them to the college or a restaurant, bar, casino, whatever. I will get one ride there, right? So I put my coffee cup down, I put on my jacket, go out to my car, pick the guy up and take him to where he's got to go, and that's a $3 ride, whatever. Wherever I end up, I stay there. I sit there, right? I camp out there. Or there's an area, there's a shopping mall here that I like, I like to camp out there. And then I'm hitting rides from here and rides from there. See? And then I will go down below, the college is here, right? And over the hill, and I will sit in the parking lot down here, right? And then, so I'm in that area down there and the college. So I'm taking care of that, right? And I might end up here, I might end up there, whatever. But I sit in the outlying areas, and I just camp out. Wherever I end up, turn the car off, listen to radio, or I go back to that area that was not too far away. Try not to drive too far, but you position yourself outside the area somewhere nobody else is. You go to a more outlying area, but you don't drive too far. Turn off your car, listen to radio, enjoy your time reading the newspaper, right, listening to the radio, talking on your phone to your friends, texting, whatever you want to do. But you don't sit piled up in the middle of the city, see? You go outside the area. Now, some people disagree with this, I don't know. But the basic bottom line is, the more you drive your car, the more you're wasting your gasoline, and the more you're using up your car, right? You don't want to be driving constantly the whole time, see? You don't want to be driving constantly the whole time. You want to camp out somewhere, and you don't want to be all piled up with everybody else, because then you're only in the list, and they do not want you to qualify for that $15. So if there's somebody else available, they'll give that ride to that other person who's standing right next to you on the street corner. Go to a shopping mall, you see 10 guys talking to each other, and they don't look like each other, right? They're probably Uber drivers. They're probably, if you see an old guy, a woman, a couple of teenagers, a couple of minority people, whatever, all sitting talking to each other. They're probably Uber drivers, right? You're probably not a street gang. You're probably not like one particular, they're like obviously different looking people, gabbing with each other, smoking cigarettes, standing together at a shopping mall. They're all Uber drivers, and they're all in that list. So you're waiting to get, come back up on that list again. See? And so they're kind of wasting their time doing that. And rather than give the ride to somebody else, right? To you, even though you'll get that one ride per hour and you'll get that $15 an hour, right? Instead, they'll give it to somebody else, right? If they can. See? Be in an outlying area, right? And basically the $15 an hour base rate is to reward people who do lots of little trips all the time, right? And constantly taking college kids back and forth to the dorms and down to the bar and back up to their dorm again over and over and over again, right? To reward those people, right, they give them that $15 an hour. If they're like busy for a couple of hours doing that, they get that $15 an hour, and because they're actually earning it, right? But you got more than enough people, well, nobody's going to get that $15 an hour, see? And that's part of the problem there, see? So you don't want to do that. And so basically, if it's unrealistic expectations is one of the big problems. Okay, if everybody was realistic about it, and everything would be better off. But too many people are too desperate for money, right? And so basically look, if I'm in that outlying city and if I live there, right? If I'm in this outlying city and I've lived here, right? I'll turn on my phone and I'll sit in my car. And even though I don't get many rides, hey, I'm not driving very far. See? And then it'll make sense. Or maybe I'll spend the whole day out there in that city, and something like that, and I'll get a bunch of rides out there. See? But, if you expect too much, you're not going to get it, right? So basically, that's what you got to realize. Go and, lay back, meditate, listen to radio. Don't expect too much. Don't try to use this to replace a real job, because it's not going to do it. It's not going to work. So anyway, that's basically the lesson for today about Uber. Okay, thanks.